everyone, Jonny Archibald here with the inaugural edition of Collected Editions. I call it Collected Editions because at no point will I recommend an ongoing series until after it has been completed and collected, or at least part of it that could stand up on its own. The reason for this is that if I recommend a monthly series and the art drops off, or the story declines, or it gets tied up in crossovers, or just never comes out again, I look like an idiot. But if I recommend a completed story, that's something I can vouch for from beginning to end. I cannot recommend a horror book more than Lock and Key by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. This follows the Locke family after the father is brutally murdered in the first part. They move up to their family estate, which has been in the family for just since the 1600s. That's how far back it goes. And the unique part about this house that they move into is that it has these magical doorways and these keys that reveal themselves to the children throughout the course of the book. And when you step through the doorway using that key, you can get to have a sex change, turn into an animal, turn into a giant, control shadows, summon ghosts, all that stuff. And while it might seem gimmicky on the surface of things, each one of those doors contributes more to the plot and the overarching story, so it never comes off as gimmicky. They could have just run this thing into the ground with the doors, but they really thought them out before they actually integrated them into the story. The villain of the story is this mysterious entity known as Dodge, who is after the Omega Key. Presumably bad things will happen when Dodge gets the Omega Key, and he spends the series just essentially stalking the family from the supernatural perspective. Just plot after plot of trying to get this Omega Key. And in the last mini-series that's collected in the third hardcover, it's an epic battle of good versus evil, and everything possibly going wrong in that moment. So it was a real satisfying conclusion, especially since they have all these pieces going on, much akin to Lost with all of the mysteries, except this actually delivers and ties it up for you in a neat little bow, and you can read it time and time again and just find stuff in there that you missed on the 5th or 6th, or in my case, 7th read. Now with Joe Hill, you might not know it from his name, but he's actually the son of Stephen King, so this guy has horror background written all over him. I would compare this to The Shining, really. Specifically with the theme of alcoholism. I know the mother has her about with alcoholism, but just the way Stephen King related it to that supernatural element in The Shining, Joe Hill does a good job, especially since that dark force that Dodge represents can sometimes take control of people and make them evil and do things they wouldn't normally do. And if you've known a bad drunk, then you know alcohol is certainly capable of that. I also have to commend the art by Gabriel Rodriguez. When I first read this thing, I got done with the first miniseries, and I'm like, okay, this is way too cartoony. But then, once it gets a little bit more into it, you realize this guy designed a 3-story mansion of a house by himself, and it really works as a character in the story, because Joe Hill would apparently send him scripts, and he'd say, nah, man, this takes place in the kitchen. It can't possibly take place in the 3rd bedroom, which is 2 floors up, and so they'd have to rewrite it. That level of detail definitely pays off. A lot of hard work was poured into this. It was released over a number of years, and it's been collected in several formats. There's a reason for it. It's because it's very, very good. If you like horror comics or just comic books in general, you need to check this out. Once again, it's available in 3 oversized hardbacks or 6 regular trade paperbacks. And if you want to pick it up at a discount, I would suggest InStockTrades.com. They regularly, run things at 40% off, so you can get this whole collection in under $100. Highly recommended.